All right, so I know that we all have our opinions out there, and I know that Colin Cowherd certainly gives his opinion, but the whiplash that he gives you is just humorous to me. There's a bizarre statement made about the Green Bay Packers, and Colin Cowherd gets it.
A reason
Let's
is my
listen.
mom got into a wreck driving us to school. That's a reason. It's not an excuse. I mean, if you have the Lions may have the best roster next to Philly in the league. You know Chicago now. Chicago's roster is outstanding if Ben Johnson can coach and Caleb can play. Minnesota, I mean, don't we think Minnesota's personnel's top 7, 8 in the league?
I do.
So my take is, yeah, it's okay. You just lost probably arguably your best corner, Jair Alexander, when he's healthy. So, and by the way, you draft a receiver because you don't necessarily trust the young receivers you have with health or performance. So I think I'm not as high on Green Bay as everybody else is. I think Detroit wins the division and Chicago's the wild card team. I don't think right now, personnel-wise,
Really?
I've always said I think Green Bay drafts and develops at an incredibly high level, but they don't have right now a lot of great players. Minnesota's got some great players. Their left tackle and Jefferson are great players. Chicago, Sweat, Jalen Johnson, just on defense. Those are great players. Green Bay, who's Green Bay's best player? They have a lot of good players. They don't have a lot of holes or liabilities.
Well, it's funny you say that. So LaFleur got Aaron Rodgers, and they had some deep playoff runs. I was dubious of LaFleur, but it was like, oh, he's making deep playoff runs. Aaron Rodgers leaves. How many deep playoff runs post Aaron Rodgers with LaFleur, Colin? Just put that out there. Just put it out there.
In Dallas.
Ooh, beating Dallas.
I think what has happened to Green Bay, they're a little bit like the Indianapolis Colts. We like their GM. We like their roster. We're just not sure how great they are at quarterback, and they don't have a lot of oh my God players.
Okay, so let's tackle that a second here, because Colin Cowherd, at times you respect the guy. At times you're like, okay, man, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's saying. But just mid last year, he was talking about Jordan Love being Patrick Mahomes-esque like out there. So then you fast forward to the year hasn't even started, and now you're saying the Green Bay Packers don't have any great players on their roster. But let me remind you, Xavier McKinney, I would say, is a great safety. If you're talking about one of the top safeties in the league, that makes you great at that position, right? Okay, so Xavier McKinney tied with the most interceptions all last year, next to Detroit's Kirby Joseph, I believe. So then you've got Zach Tom, who some are saying is the best right tackle in all of football. And then you've got Jenkins, who you can throw into the mix of that as well. Now, whether or not he's great, Kenny Clark has showed some great play throughout his career. Now he's took a step back last season. But then you've got Josh Jacobs, who arguably had some of the most yak yards out there. I would label him a great running back in this league. And then you've got Jordan Love, who arguably was the best quarterback his rookie year. The last 8 games of the season and into the playoffs, you could make the argument that there was not a better quarterback in the league, including Patrick Mahomes. So, man, Colin Cowherd, like the whiplash that dude gives you when it comes to just putting his foot in his mouth and just being completely inconsistent with what he says is laughable. What a bizarre statement to make, that now he thinks Detroit finishes number 1 in the division. Chicago Bears, now with new head coach Ben Johnson, and who's yet to prove himself as a head coach. Now, I would agree that is an upgrade of what they had last year at head coach, even without him proving himself. But you're going to label them a wild card team? So there's a lot of predictions out there. A lot of people have their own opinions as to what a team will finish in the division. Okay. So in this article, CBS put it out, and it has the Chicago Bears finishing 4th with a 7-10 record. Okay. and that's Caleb Mahomes. That was all the weapons that they put around him, all of that. Now, mind you, I think the Chicago Bears got considerably better because they added some weapons on their offensive line. We already know that. That was a big crutch, a big thorn in their side throughout all of last season. So I know that the Chicago Bears roster got better, but to label them finishing second in the division and a wild card. Now, could they be a wild card? I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility. And I certainly don't see that happening. But the Detroit Lions, they say, is going to finish second with a 10-7 record. Keep in mind, when we start talking about the Detroit Lions, yes, they've got a crazy talented team. Okay, I'm not taking anything away from the Detroit Lions. I hate talking about them. They're the most annoying football team to me in all of football. They have some great talent on their roster, but when you lose your OC, your DC, and other coaching staff members, that's certainly going to take a blow, let alone their away schedule is one of the hardest in the league. So that's certainly going to catch up to you at some point. They have the Green Bay Packers finishing first with an 11-6 record. The Minnesota Vikings finishing in third place with a 9-8 record. Now, again, you look at other avenues, other articles out there, and you see PFF has the Detroit Lions finishing first in the division, the Green Bay Packers just behind them, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears, and then you get this article that states that the Detroit Lions are going to finish first with a 12-5 record, Packers an 11-6 record, comparable to what CBS put out. And I think that is a very good, I think 11-6, 12-5. You could see the Green Bay Packers finishing either of those, the Chicago Bears 8-9, the Minnesota Vikings 11-6. Again, these are just people's projections, opinions out there ahead of the 2025 season. But I think it's absolutely laughable that Colin Cowherd said that the Green Bay Packers, really, he thinks they're going to finish last in the division because they've got no great players there. And he made arguments as to why Minnesota is so good. They've got great personnel. They got great front office. The Chicago Bears, he thinks, took a massive leap forward to get into the playoffs. He actually said that the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears are going to be the only two playoff teams to come out of the NFC North. Whereas last year you had the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Green Bay and the Detroit Lions to make the playoffs. And I certainly think there's going to be three teams in the playoffs again. Wouldn't be out of the realm, if not just two, the Lions and the Packers. But you got the Minnesota Vikings with the big unknown with JJ McCarthy. How good is this guy going to be? He's got a great wide receiver cast around him. He's got a really good tight end. He's got a really good running back. They've got a good defense, all of that. Minnesota Vikings, though, with the really big unknown with JJ McCarthy. I'm not saying Sam Darnold is one of a great quarterback to make them good, as good as they were last year. I think they overachieved. But man, leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts about Colin Cowherd's comments about the Green Bay Packers. I think it's a joke, but that doesn't surprise a lot of people out there. Leave your comments, and as always, go Pack Go.